guided by the fighter mentor. There's a kind of noise that doesn't make a sound. It enters when the day has not even started yet, and even so, already tries to decide for you. That is how many people lose their direction without realizing it. Discipline is not born to impress anyone. It is born to protect what is yours. Attention, rhythm, presence. When that breaks, everything else starts to go crooked. Before the world's pace accelerates, there's a moment when everything can still be adjusted from within. It is in that space that the mind decides whether it will react to excess or remain firm in what matters. And when that decision happens early, the day no longer begins in disorder. If this is making sense, leave a like, hit the bell, and subscribe to the channel. The first of the day almost never comes from outside. It comes from within. It is the rush to respond. It is the urge to scatter. It is the automatic surrender to whatever appears first. But there's another way, cleaner, stronger, a way where the mind arrives before the noise and chooses to stay where it matters. That is focus. It is not tension all the time. It is continuous direction, a presence that does not negotiate with everything that passes by. Mental health is not a luxury. It is the state of the ground. If the ground is bad, every step feels tiring. If the ground is steady, even the difficult crossing feels possible. There are people who wake up already owing the day. The mind runs before the body runs before intention, and before they realize it, they are only reacting. But sometimes everything changes because of a small gesture, almost invisible, a gesture made before the rest of the world enters. It was inside a simple moment like that, silent, ordinary, almost invisible, that a small choice began to gain weight. It did not seem important at first, but some of the biggest turning points in life begin exactly that way, in moments almost no one notices. And that is where the story began. Title: The Underground Garage. In the basement of a commercial building, before the doors opened, there was a strange silence. White lights, floor markings, the distant sound of tires and engines passing above. As if another life existed one floor up. One person used to arrive early and stay seated in the car for a few seconds without rushing to get out. It was not laziness. It was a pause. It was a way of not carrying the weight of the whole street into the shift. In those seconds, the face relaxed, the breath settled, and the rest of the day no longer began in war. So much breaks because it starts too fast, and so much is saved because it starts in silence. Discipline is not rigidity. It is protection. It is what keeps the mind from scattering before its time. It creates silent boundaries that preserve energy, organizes excess before it turns into exhaustion, and keeps your direction steady even when the environment tries to speed everything up around you. There is a difference between starting and invading, between owning your own rhythm and being dragged by the rhythm of the outside world. Those who learn that difference stop wasting energy with no return. Before understanding this in thought, someone had to feel in the body the cost of entering the wrong rhythm. It was through an ordinary gesture, almost invisible, that this difference appeared for the first time, and that is where everything began to change. Now pay attention to the story. The emergency stairs. In a tall building, someone decided to take the emergency stairs instead of waiting for the elevator. Not for training, not out of obligation, just because the mind needed space. Step by step, the air changed. The chest worked. The mind stopped getting stuck in what had happened before. By the top floor, the person was no longer carrying the same tension. Nothing had been solved by miracle, but the body had helped the mind get unstuck. Sometimes relief begins in the physical. A simple movement can undo a knot that seemed mental. If this is making sense, leave a like, hit the bell, and subscribe to the channel. Conscious productivity is this. It is not producing until you break. It is noticing when excess is already costing too much. When the mind is overloaded, everything feels heavier than it should. When the mind is stable, the hard thing is still hard, but it stops being impossible. Now imagine a delivery warehouse before the rain. Pallets aligned, gray light entering from the side. The sound of taped wood, short footsteps, and the dry echo of routine that is about to begin. It is in this kind of setting that the story appears. Title: The Delivery Warehouse. In a distribution center, one person always worked the same shift. No beautiful ritual, no prepared phrase, just one habit. Before the rush began, they would lean against a side wall for 1 minute, looking at the empty warehouse. 1 minute without outside demands, without pressure, without being rushed. After that minute, everything fell into place with less confusion, not because the place became easy, but because the person stopped entering the day already broken. Over time, the work did not become lighter. The weight simply stopped being the same. Irritation dropped. Reactions became less impulsive. And the mind began to handle what used to break it from within. That is the part many people ignore. Mature discipline does not appear as brute force. It appears as fine adjustment, as care for what enters, as a limit on what remains, as respect for what needs to leave. Deep focus does not depend on spectacle. It depends on a stable point. If everything around you tries to pull you outward, the stable point is what brings shape back. There are days when the greatest victory is not producing more. It is not scattering. It is not turning everything into urgency. It is not giving the first minute to chaos. Breathe now. No rush. Inhale. Hold. Exhale. Feel your body come a little out of defense. There's a strange calm in those who learn to begin without noise. It is not weakness. It is mastery. Those who master the beginning stop being pushed around by everything else. And when that happens, the day no longer defeats you before it begins. You enter it whole, and that changes everything. Those who protect the first minute protect the rest of the day, because it is in that silent beginning that the mind sets the rhythm it will carry through the next hours. When the start is taken over by excess, the rest of the day only tries to keep up with the chaos. But when the beginning is protected, decisions become clearer. The body responds with less tension, and attention stops being pulled by every noise. If you felt this, come back. Here we do not chase noise. Here we learn to remain, because remaining is what turns direction into identity. It is returning even on ordinary days, even when there is no high motivation or immediate reward. Little by little, that silent consistency reorganizes the mind, strengthens presence, and builds a foundation that the world's excess can no longer knock down so easily.